My guest today is a certified hypnotherapist and past life regression practitioner. He's helped clients from around the world unlock their potential, release subconscious blocks, and access deeper states of awareness. In this episode, we talk about what past life regression is, who it can help, and some amazing stories of past lives on other planets and in different timelines. Enjoy the episode. Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome back to another episode of the Skin I'm In podcast. I'm your host, Chanel, and this is the space where real stories meet radical self-discovery. Here, you'll find peace through clarity, purpose through inspiration, and the permission to be your authentic self through the stories of men and women who've walked the path before us. If this show moves you, hit that like button, share it with someone you care about, or subscribe so you never miss an episode. That small but powerful act helps the show grow and brings in the guest you most want to hear from. In return, my promise to you is that I'll keep showing up with the raw, the real, and the conversations that crack us wide open, reminding us we're not alone. So, let's dive in and find the light in the shadows together. Welcome to the Skin I'm In podcast, Jonathan. It is so great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
One of the things that have piqued my curiosity about past lives is how they shape our sense of identity, our purpose, and even the healing types of healing that we're drawn to in this lifetime. When you look at past lives through a spiritual lens, what do they actually show us about who we are now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I found that we all have past lives. Past lives is so prevalent throughout history and astrology, and there's so much evidence of it from different modalities that validate it. So we can get into that in a little bit. But a lot of us have patterns and cycles that we continue to repeat over and over until we pass those tests by the universe. I've seen people with relationship trauma over and over again. I've seen people be a psychic in this life, but they were a healer, they were a medicine woman, they were a witch in past lives. So our personality will carry over our essence of who we are from body to body, but our physical differences we can switch bodies. We've been male, female, rich and poor, dark skin, light skin, all different cultures, and we're just here learning our lessons on Earth School.
Do you think that people use their past life as a reason to not do the work in this life? Do you ever come across that?
I've come across a lot of people saying, I don't want to come back. I don't want to come back here because Earth is challenging. It's a lot of suffering. But most of the time, I saw it as more of a, okay, nothing matters and everything matters at the same time, but I saw it more of validation and confidence and faith in a higher power, and that it does matter what I do, and I should be the best version of me.
But you've never noticed that people are like, well, no, I was like this in a past life, so I just can't overcome that in this life. This is why I am the way that I am, even if it means I'm an a-hole.
Using excuses. In other, like the thing I don't come across that too much. In fact, even if we are on substances, they say that we need to overcome that substance abuse to get past that, or we'll want it in the spirit world and we won't be able to get it. And then we'll have to overcome that challenge again in the next life. So it gives us, I think it should help us want to improve even more.
I get that. I remember once a lady, I had gone to this lady's house, and I kid you not, Jonathan, it was like she was a tarot reader, but it was like stepping into her house. I actually stepped into another dimension. It was just so weird. I was like, I don't think I'm on planet Earth in my timeline right now. But I remember her saying to me that in the past I was a drunk gypsy man who would sleep around with women and, leave them in love with me, and I didn't care, and I treated people like really badly. And in this lifetime, especially in my early 20s, I was maybe 24 at the time, that is why I'm attracting in this lifetime men who are treating me the same way. And I thought it was so interesting as a 20-year-old I didn't have the understanding that I have now as a 41-year-old. But looking back on it, I was like, yeah, I can really understand just how much of a pattern that I was in my early 20s, where I may have been attracting people like that into my life. And I thought, even at the time, although it didn't make sense to me, I'm like, I'm not going to be that person anymore. And I started to get really interested in past life regression. I started to really inquire about that 20 years ago. And so for someone who has never experienced past life regression or hypnotherapy, can you explain what is happening on an emotional, physical, spiritual, even energetic level in a session?
Yeah, yeah, and that's that gypsy lady or gypsy man is very interesting. We all have things we've done in past lives that maybe we're not proud of, but it's okay. We learn from those and we can move forward. And it doesn't mean we have to suffer over and over again. And that's the beauty of doing this work, because we grow spiritually. So we do this to grow spiritually and to release karma. And I call it forever feelings we've just always felt, shame or whatever the feeling is, and we don't know where it comes from. And so during a session, the difference between like Akashic records or a psychic telling you about your past lives and a past life regression is you're the one experiencing it firsthand. So you're getting visions, knowings, feelings. You're experiencing these past life memories, metaphors, whatever it is, your experience. You're in the scene, and you can see, a lot of people can see their hands and feet in the house they grew up in, and very interesting moments, exciting days. Pyramids if they go to Egypt, Atlantis if they go to Atlantean days. However, they don't experience anything unpleasant, like painful. I always make sure to guide them through safety precautions as well. Like, you won't experience anything unpleasant. We're just an observer. We're doing this to learn the lesson, because we do go to some challenging scenes sometimes. We go to death scenes, we go to some challenging days, but it's okay. It's the reason we have a guide with us is to get us through that. And that's why a lot of people like doing this with a guide, because it helps them find out the challenging scene, release it. That's what in my early days, I wouldn't know how to do the releasement techniques. And I would guide them to these challenging days and I wouldn't know what to do. Now I can help them release that emotion that's trapped there for many lifetimes. And then they can move on into clarity.
I anticipate you would have witnessed some extraordinary experiences with your clients in past life regression. Are there moments that you can share with us where there have been either profound shifts that occurred or things that have even surprised you, or stories, like you said, of people who have gone to an ancient timeline?
Oh yeah. Let me tell you, I always like to tell new stories because every week there's something new. And last week I did a session with a lady who was afraid of boats, big ships. She didn't know why, and she had what was she struggling with? Relationships as well. She didn't have a good relationship with her children. And so she went to a past life. She was in Ireland, and it was the potato famine, and everything was scarce. There was not a lot of resources. So her and her family in that lifetime went on a big boat, and they wanted to move to America so they could be free and thrive. Well, when they were on the boat, there was murmurs, there was whispers of the boat being sinking or something going wrong with it, and the captain didn't tell anyone about it. And until it was too late, and the boat sank very quickly, and they were on the bottom of the ship. It was a ship with hundreds and hundreds of families, and they were panicking. Whole family perished. The water came in the room, and just they drowned, and that left a emotional scar with her. And now she didn't want to go on boats. She's never been on a big boat her whole life, and that's the reason why she was scared of it, because that event happened in the past life. So that's just one. The kids, her kids kind of maybe were blaming her for bringing her on the boat instead of staying in the other time. So that there's just we establish different beliefs into these traumas. So two people can be in a car accident. One person can walk away fine. Another person can walk away afraid of cars for the rest of their life, depending on the beliefs that we put in ourselves when these traumas happen. They can happen from past lives. They can happen from this life. A lot of times children operate in the theta frequency until age 8. That's why a lot of adults walk around with childhood trauma, and that's what we help. I help with the most too, is PTSD trauma and alleviating that from childhood. Then we do a few sessions and go back to past lives and kind of give you a clean slate.
I like that you actually brought that up, because what's coming up for me right now is that, yes, a lot of our traumas do happen before the age of 8, like we start to develop them and then we just reinforce them for the rest of our lives. But it is also the time that I find that adults try to suppress children's creativity the most. We're being shushed. It's like, speak only when you're spoken to, don't do that, don't bring shame onto the family, you're being too loud, just sit in the corner. So it's such a really, really important time of, I have always felt, emotional and spiritual alignment. And it's almost like it is also the same time where that's being suppressed in children. And then we grow up and we have all of these traumas that we're trying to deal with, and we don't understand that it actually started from when we were like 5, 6, 7 years old.
Yeah, it's in a lot of children. I think all children should learn meditation, Reiki. They should learn this to use their psychic gifts. We all have abilities and gifts that we learn. A lot of people that are psychic say, "Oh, it was happening when I was a kid. I was seeing dead people or people beyond the veil, but my parents would just tell me to shush," and so they would suppress it. And there's instead of doing that, we should embrace our gifts, learn how to harness that energy and use it for good.
There are a lot of mothers that listen to this show. So what would you say to them if they have a child who is exhibiting these kinds of, what we would normally in society, not strange for you and I obviously, but normal society would call odd behavior in children, or like, seeing ghosts and stuff like that? What advice would you give to the mums listening who have a child that they may be a little bit worried about because of these things?
I would embrace it, support them, ask them more questions like, what do you mean? And ask them to go on, tell me what else happened. And it's just a phase. They're not going to go off into La La Land forever. It's kind of normal for them, the kids, to be experiencing, because that's all they knew growing up. That's just what happens in day-to-day life. So it's just something that's, we don't need to suppress them or tell them that's weird, just because kids are amazing. I do substitute teaching, and K through 12 in the younger grades, they're like almost like a group consciousness. They want everyone to be happy, and we have a new wave of spirits coming in, I think, on Earth here, and everyone sees the amazingness, because I don't know if you guys know this, but alcohol sales are down 30% because Gen Z just doesn't drink anymore. And a lot of people are vibrating at a higher frequency. So parents, if your kid has night terrors, that could be a dream from a past life event. A lot of children can remember their most recent past lives. Netflix has a series called Surviving Death, and Amazon Prime has a series called The Ghost Within My Child. Look to that to get help. And also Jim Tucker out of the University of Virginia has 2 books on children's past lives. So it's very well known, it's documented. But yeah, embrace, be positive, supporting, uplifting. The kids are so important. They're so fragile. So everything you say to them will go into them. There's no consciousness. They're in alpha theta, so there's no shield up yet. So it's very nice and good to be supporting with them.
You know what I find funny now that you're just saying that? Growing up, you convince kids that there's such thing as Santa Claus and tooth fairies. But then when they come to you and say that I saw a ghost or I saw something in my dream, they're literally told it's ridiculous. Like, hang on a second. Oh my goodness. So do you get a lot of
I never
kids?
thought of that. That's
Yeah,
really good thought. I'm gonna say that again.
yeah,
That's amazing. Say it louder for the people in the back. That's a good thought.
yeah. I've always found it really peculiar. Like, even as a kid, I had my first spiritual experience at the age of 7, and I used to find it really strange that I'm like, I don't believe in this person that they keep telling me is Santa Claus, and I tried really hard to believe in it. And my sisters were fully in, you know, into the whole idea. And I'm like, I don't think this is real. What's wrong with me? Like, I'm a kid. I should be believing in these things, but it always felt off. So ever since I was little, I'm like, there's something fundamentally wrong with adults telling us that there are things like Easter bunnies who are, leaving chocolates for us, or tooth fairies who are leaving money, and jolly fat men who are leaving us toys. I'm like, this is all really strange. But then when I tried to talk about some of my experiences as a child, I was actually sent to the counselor at school. I was like, this is bewildering for me as a kid. And so you learn very quickly that you can't talk about stuff like that, right? Now I talk about it all the time. And for anyone who listens to the show, they know that I'm deeply interested in every type of natural healing modality. And I think that because it has come up for me that I was a healer in a past life, I was burnt at the stake. But, and I would dream about that a lot, and I hadn't spoken about it to anyone, but I had a lady who I had seen, she's my spiritual mentor. First thing she said to me was, you dream a lot, don't you? You see things in your dreams. I was like, who's telling you things? But yeah, so I find that though, and I get a lot of these people on the show and we talk about them. There are a lot of practitioners that talk about, change, but not all of them create lasting transformation. Not every healing modality creates lasting transformation. Would you say that that would be because it's not the healing modality that is for that person? Or is it that there is a different level of healing that maybe comes from past life regression and hypnotherapy that doesn't exist in other modalities?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And I don't want to knock any modalities. They're all useful. I think some of them are more of a lifestyle than a modality sometimes too. But the reason hypnotherapy works so well, you could go to talk therapy for years and not get anywhere, months. And with hypnotherapy, typically my sessions with someone with PTSD, trauma, and other things, I do 3 sessions and that's it. We do 3 sessions, or about 2 hours each, so we go deep. But I'm just holding space for you to create the change, empowering my clients to do the work, to make the changes at a subconscious level. And the subconscious is like an iceberg. Imagine the consciousness is the tip of the iceberg above the sea. It's about 10%. It's actually 5%, is what the literature says. 95% of what we do, our habits, are run by the subconscious. So that's why hypnotherapy works so efficiently and effectively to create these changes. And it's not mind control. It's you controlling your mind more. You are controlling the session. You tell the hypnotherapist what you want to do it on, and they create the custom session for you. So it's really impactful, and it only takes a few sessions. And I hope to promote this more with what I do with my Instagram, with my app that's coming out, and people can use it I use it every day. I do hypnotherapy every day. And it's just a nice way to, meditation, we go to the deep as well. But with hypnotherapy, once we're in that meditative state, we can also instill positive suggestions that get directly absorbed into the subconscious to create lasting change.
So then who would benefit most from hypnotherapy or past life regression? Would you say that they're kind of the same thing? Do you go through the same things, or are they different? Like, how would you explain that to someone?
Who would? Oh, and I did want to mention too, as long as the modality gets to the root cause. So the practitioner should ask you questions that gets to the root cause, to that event, change, the catalyst that made you stuck or the way you are or whatnot. And then you can create the change from there, because we instill beliefs based on the catalyst. So hypnotherapy and past life regression go hand in hand. It's much like a guided meditation. I'd say that to help people feel more comfortable, because people associate hypnotherapy with the scary movies, and that's not like that. It's you're aware, you're awake the whole time. I record the audio, and people that want to grow spiritually, people that are stuck, people that have a fear, phobia, birthmark, I've found are from past lives, and we are able to alleviate them. And people that are tired of being sick and tired, they're tired of being the way they are. Also, just for me, I used it for sports performance. My first session, I won a disc golf tournament the next day after I did my first hypnotherapy session. I was the top sales guy in my company. there was a lot of limiting beliefs that I had, and I was like plateauing, and I couldn't get to the next level. So anyone that wants performance improvements, and the deeper work would be the journeys, the getting to the root cause, the regressions, the metaphysical stuff.
Have you ever had a session that challenged your beliefs around consciousness or reality?
Yeah, I have sessions that open my mind more and more every day. I don't know what way direction you want to go with this, but there's a few different things that challenged my beliefs. And you know, past lives is, a lot of people, the myth is we've all been famous people or Cleopatra and like kings and stuff, but it really doesn't matter whether you've been a pharaoh or a peasant or a farmer. Though what matters is you get the healing, you get the messages from the session. So that's a normal. That's like 95% of my sessions are earthbound past lives. Recently, with all the UFO activity on Earth, I've been having people come to me for close encounters, abduction stories, and people that don't feel like they're from here. I've been having off-planet past life experiences. We can go to future past lives, future lives on Earth as well, and it's flying cars, holograms. Spoiler alert: we make it. We don't blow each other up, and everything's fine. We get through it, but so the UFO type stuff is pretty interesting. And one thing that blew my mind too is all these mythological creatures like mermaids, fairies, wizards, dragons, stuff like that. To me, when people I had someone be like Merlin in this past life adventure with dragons and stuff, and I am open-minded and I had no judgment, and I just let the session play out the way it plays out. And as long as he's getting the metaphors, the lessons, the signs and symbols he needs for his consciousness to grow, that's what's important. I'm not here to judge, but perhaps there was a time where where the frequencies of Earth have shifted and we're going from the old world to the new. And so I don't, I let the sessions go where they need to go.
It's really interesting you brought that up because I recently just finished Freddie Silver's book, Scotland's Hidden Sacred Past. And he has a new documentary out called Megalith, and he talks about the Shining Ones and how their history has kind of been tainted to make it out like they're these little people with wings that fly around, and that's where the word fairies came from. So he actually goes into where the word fairy came from and what they're referring to when they talk about fairies. And so I found that really, really interesting because there is a lot of that in myths and in legends. And I would love to believe that mermaids exist. It's just one of those things that I'm like, I am bought in on that one. But it's interesting that people are coming to you with experiences of UFOs. So has someone come to you with an experience on another planet?
Well, I did a session last month, and 3 people went to off-planet past lives. One was very alone. They didn't feel like they were from here, and they were an explorer in a past life. They started off on a planet with red sky and 2 suns. And they said, I'm the explorer. I need to find new planets for us to inhabit. And they basically were on a spaceship their entire life. Their entire life, they were just traveling through the cosmos. And they had a levitation room, much like they could turn the gravity up so that when they levitated, they would have to work harder with their mind to levitate. They had a healing room. They had a command center. And they had a family on the ship too. So it was a big ship, and the whole family, like generations, went across the skies. In that life, they had a black, scaly skin, and it was very interesting. And the lesson there was there's always a lesson with these sessions, but the lesson is you're never alone. There's always people beyond the veil rooting for you, and you're an explorer. So you chose this life to be away from your spirit group on Earth, kind of lonely, because you're strong enough to handle it. Another past life session, I had someone with green. green skin. I don't know if it was a reptilian or not, but it was green skin, and they were on a ship with a family almost their whole life, and they went from star system to star system, and they could meditate. They could do all these things. They had a command center that had basically like an Akashic records where they could see everything that was going on. And one day I did a session with someone. This blew my mind actually. So you talked about expanding my mind. So I've had this happen 3 times, very rare. But I said, go to a future life. So they went to a future life where they had blue skin and they were above Earth in a spaceship. So they were above Earth in a spaceship. I said, what are you doing? I said, I'm monitoring my current incarnation. What do you mean? My current self, myself that's laying down talking to you right now. I'm monitoring my current incarnation, projecting my consciousness into it. It was almost like that was his higher self or a version of his higher self. And I've had that happen a few times, and it's very rare, but it's very wild to think about. What if our higher self, or that whatever we are, our soul, we have a fraction of us inside of our body, our avatar. Where is that coming from? Well, it could be coming from a spaceship above Earth, and these abductions cases are just checking on our own. It's checking on our own kind, giving us downloads, monitoring us, and putting us back. So a lot of times they are friendly.
Oh my God, that is so fascinating. I wish when I was going into my QHHT session, I was hoping something as far out like that would, pop up. But the 2 lives that I dropped into were not very interesting at all. but they provided a lot of clarity as to why I am the way that I am now. But one of the things that is coming up for me right now, Jonathan, is if we've lived so many lives over and over, and that there are lives that we're going to continue living over and over, how would we explain who we really are? And like what the purpose of being human actually is? Like, why are we reincarnating over and over to heal and make amends with decisions that we've made in a past life? Like, have you ever been able to work out for yourself what the point of all of this is?
Oh my God, I wonder that all the time. What's our purpose? I did a session, one of my first sessions actually. I said, go to the beginning, go to where this all started. And she was a really spiritual lady. She almost a psychic basically. And I've done these sessions with psychics, and a lot of spiritual people that do many modalities come to me because practitioners, facilitator, we need help too. I do trades. We need to make time for our own wellness. So I'm the person facilitators come to sometimes. So she went into a life where she was an energy being on a planet like Krypton with crystals and clear. I don't even know if it had an atmosphere, and there was crystals everywhere. It was like shiny, like ice, but everything was crystallized. She was an energy being. I asked, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Well, it's kind of boring. It's really neutral. I can teleport here and teleport there, but it's very. I don't have a form, and I can look up wisdom and stuff, but there's no experiences." And I said, "Okay, we'll go to an exciting day." And so she went to a day where a light came down from the sky, and there was in a ship, and they said, "What are they doing? What's happening?" She said, "Well, it's making us an offer. They're offering us a chance to incarnate in a physical body on a planet to help raise the vibration of that planet." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, what happens?" She said, "Well, 4 of us accept the offer. The rest of us decline." And I said, "Okay, what happens next?" And so what happened next was she and the uh, 4 energy beings that were there went to an attunement center outside of Earth's solar system to get attuned to Earth's frequency. We have a frequency here, just like anywhere. A sun, if you incarnate on the sun, you'd need to get it attuned to that frequency. And there's different. It's almost like going to a different culture. You go faster or slower depending on how people talk and the culture and stuff. So they went to an attunement center, and they got ready to incarnate on Earth. And so she said that being an energy being is boring, it's neutral, and there's no experiences. So from what I've learned with Dolores Cannon and Michael Newton and all these other past life authors in my sessions is we're here to learn lessons, progress ourselves, our soul. We're here to help others and be in service, really important, and experience and celebrate. So we want to celebrate, we want to enjoy the sunsets and the music, and as a formless being, we can't have that. So part of our journey is we're in a lot of different cultures and spiritual people think this as well, is we are a fraction of source or all-knowing, all-being God, or whatever universal life force consciousness your religion is. So we are a fraction of that because we couldn't bring all of that into one body. The Earth's frequency cannot handle that yet. So imagine that we are a fraction of our oversoul. There's like an oversoul, a higher self, and then us and our avatar. And we go to Earth and we incur karma and energy and lessons. And then we get many chances to learn our lessons. And it's very hard here on Earth School because we wake up with amnesia. We're not sure what happened and we have to figure it out. And we have grudges. We betray people. There's arguments and things we're not, addictions and things we're not good at. And so we want to come back over and over to keep learning the lesson until we get it right. And eventually we raise our vibration so high that we perhaps do not need to incarnate as a physical being anymore. Because imagine if we let a lot of people abuse power. Well, what if our soul eventually will be able to make universes or planets or places for lower beings to live? Well, we wouldn't want someone creating a universe that's horrible and negative and suffering. We'd want one that's all love and happiness and higher vibrations. So as we continue on this journey, dancing through life, I believe that's the ultimate goal, is to, we won't have to incarnate because we learn all of our lessons, but while we're here, let's enjoy it. Let's have fun. It's like we're camping here on Earth. And I've learned to leave the campground better than we found it.
You said earlier that we are going to make it and that there is a future. Because there's a lot of talk right now about humanity not making it past AI. And just what are we meant to do in the next 5 years? A lot of podcasts, a lot of leadership and business podcasts are talking about what will we do when AI replaces 70% of the workforce? How will any of us survive? How will any of us keep a roof over our head? But also, what would purpose look like if that happened? What's your take on that, I guess, forecast of what we're coming up against in the next decade?
Yeah. And, I asked that question when I go to past lives that are on off-planet past lives with beings that are perhaps higher in frequency than us. And I say, what do you do? What do you do all day? Go to a happy day, go to a celebration day. And a lot of times the happiest, well, actually, I'll say that for Earth as well. I say, go to the happiest day of your life. A lot of times, whether it's on Earth or another planet, it's not like an achievement. It's not like people clapping for you or you winning a sports game. A lot of times it's with being with family. It's like around a bonfire. It's chanting music. It's singing. It's at a picnic with, it's a wedding. It's firstborn. Those are the most important days that people go to. And, sounds simple, but we need to get back to the fundamentals of what makes us happy ultimately. And a lot of times on off-planet past lives, I say, go to a spiritual day and they meditate. So they have we all have a life force energy within us, and we all can connect to that. It's like our brain, our mind is a computer, but we're not hooked up to the internet yet. And so when we do hypnosis, we go to the theta frequency and we can receive downloads from the source or the internet. And it's like we go online at that point. So a lot of times, I think it is just that simple. It's meditation, it's hypnosis, it's going to that frequency and finding a purpose, making this world a better place. And we're all just puzzle pieces in this puzzle. We all have a unique voice and fingerprint and style, and we dance through life and art and creativity. And so I think it's to express ourselves just the way you are, your true authentic self.
It sounds like you have hope for humanity.
Yeah, I do. I don't watch the news, so.
Yeah, neither. Yeah, no, I get that. Well,
A lot
where
of
does it
fear.
come
That
for you
fear
then?
is the one thing that holds us back, guys. So don't feed the fears. You are abundance within you. There's not scarcity. There's so much abundance here, and we're blessed. Especially if you're in America, you have a 95% more chance than any other country out there. If it's like not a third world country, because there's just more opportunity, and so we limit ourselves, and that's what hypnosis helps people get past those limiting beliefs.
What would you say is the biggest misconception people have about past life regression or hypnotherapy, and what do you wish they'd stop assuming altogether about this field?
Yeah, that it's just, you're just making it up, or we've all been famous people, and are in Hindu, and actually half the world believes in reincarnation, by the way. It's not just the West that forgot. It's just Christianity and Protestant Hinduism, Judaism, Jainism. There's a bunch of religions in India that all believe in reincarnation. It's very common. And I'll go over just a few validating points real quick. So there's past life regression, which is like an experiment. I've done this with 1,000 people. It can be done with all different walks of life. Dolores Cannon, Michael Newton, all these past life regression authors. I actually teach past life regression. So if you're a skeptic, hey, come on, I'll teach you, and you can do it and line people up, and they can all do this. It's like gravity. You do it, it works whether you believe in it or not. So children's past lives. Go down the rabbit hole with that with Jim Tucker out of the University of Virginia. Children wake up with night terrors. The 4-year-old asks their parent, remember when we were Japanese, and the kid draws Japanese symbols? And it's like, where is he coming up with this? Psychedelics like shaman and psychedelic adventures, a lot of times past lives come up, and then they come to me afterward because they want to release that emotion. Psychics and mediums and channelers say past lives is very common in their readings. It's affecting them today. Astrology is a new one that I just heard of. The South Node in all astrology, the South Node is past lives. How would it's just talked about like a matter of fact. Spiritual books and gurus, which is like autobiography of a yogi, the Bhagavad Gita, a lot of books talk about past lives. And so, near-death experiences. So go down the rabbit hole on any of those that I just mentioned. And past lives, they all validate each other. Near-death experiences, people die, they're registered dead, and then they ask them what happened, and they said, well, I could hear you talking about me in the operating room, and this was the doctor's name, and this was the nurse's name. And so it's very, very wild. So it, anyone can argue anything, that can you prove it or not prove it? The point is, does it heal? And it does heal people, and they heal themselves and empower themselves. So I went down the rabbit hole for a while because I wasn't sure, is this real? I'm a skeptic myself, so I wanted to make sure. But when I started doing this, every person I did it with, whether I tell them it's past life regression or not, can go into it, and they can do it. So some are and sometimes you can even research. I had this one person research someone from the past life that was from the 1950s or 1900s, and they found the birthdays, they found the place where they used to live, and books. And so sometimes you can actually research who you were in a past life and find facts and reports and stuff. But the treasure is in here, guys. The treasure isn't external. It's not material items. It's your abundance. Your love is what this universe is built on. And if you ask someone enough questions, it all comes back to why they do something, is it makes them happy. So why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do you make money? Why do you need to live? Why do it all eventually you'll say it because it makes me happy. So happiness, true authenticity and love is a very high frequency that's the fundamental reason we do things.
If there's one core truth that you hope people walk away with from this conversation, what would you say that is?
Well, I hope that people knowing about past lives will help people live a more purposeful life in non-discrimination, because we've all been male and female, rich and poor, dark skin, light skin, all different cultures in past lives. And sometimes maybe someone was prejudiced in a past life, and they will come back as that culture the next life to realize what that was like. It's not exactly an eye for an eye with these things, but sometimes it can be similar. But I hope people will see each other as spirits in a body and not our physical differences, and be more open and loving with each other and more compassionate, and not look at our differences, because we're all just spiritual beings in these bodies. I'd like people to not fear hell or punishment after death. I'd like people to understand it's just another ride. We change forms, and I'm open to it, but I just haven't found a hell yet, unfortunately, for some people. I don't know why you would want to believe that, but I have not found that yet, and I'm open to it, but I hope people can stop fearing death, and because of that reason.
There's a book actually called The Laws of the Spirit World, I think that's what it's called, that explains the levels of spirit, the spirit realm, and it talks about hell, as we know it in the West, as to what that actually is in level 1 and level 2 of the spirit world. And so that's really, really interesting. So if anyone is interested in, discovering more about that, or has worries about hell and things like that, that's a really great book to be able to put into perspective what the levels of the spirit worlds are and what hell actually means in level 1 and level 2, and what, level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 means in the spirit world. And while I had never really believed in the concept of heaven and hell in the context of religion, that gave me a lot of perspective about stuff as well. So you're turning your work into an app, Journeys into the Subconscious. What inspired the app? Tell us about it.
Yeah, Journeys into the Subconscious. It'll be out soon. I do daily meditations, and I figured my clients, my followers, my fans would want that too. And I just do it for 20 minutes twice a day. They say we should meditate once a day, and if you're busy, twice a day. So it gives you that reset. It gives you that it's like a computer. We have all these programs running in the background, all these thoughts. When we restart it, it works more optimally. That's like us. We can do that as well. But meditation's hard. It's we have a lot of thoughts, and so with hypnosis, if you just follow the voice, it guides you to that theta frequency. Your body can heal itself, so it's good for you, and you can work on you can be intentional about weight loss, stop smoking, improvements, sports performance, relationships. There's endless things because the mind is endless. Confidence. And so my app is going to have daily meditations with a list of common things people need help with, journeys like past life journeys, and it's going to have a custom meditation for anything. So we're using AI and my prompts to create, if you're scared of feathers or spikes, it'll write whatever it is, biting nails or something like that. You bite your nails too much, it'll create a session that's 20 minutes long just for that. And so I'm excited to use it just for that, so I can just plug in different things every day and meditate. And a lot of people can't afford, sometimes you want to do this more than once. A lot of people just see me once or a few times, and they get the healing and whatnot. And the good thing is, they make the change, they create the shift. But the bad thing is, for me, I need to find more clients. But I'm in abundance, so I don't care about that. But the app will help people use my voice, use my meditations and hypnosis daily.
Why is this work so important to you?
Well, I think all of us facilitators or spiritual healers have a healing journey, and that's where we were sick or diseased or depressed or hurt, and Western medicine failed us, and we used holistic means, different modalities to help us heal. And now we want to share that secret with the world And my first hypnosis session changed my life, and it was so easy. I'm like, why aren't more people doing this? I've also hurt my back, and the doctor told me to take pills and get surgery. I said, no, you're fired. I hired a yoga therapist, a strength trainer, and a PT person. I strengthened my core, decompressed my spine. No pills, no surgery. So a lot of people get stuck with this: take a pill, go to the pill doctor. But there's all these modalities we can do instead. And so I want to share and spread and make alternative medicine primary medicine. And the medicine is in the food, the herbs, and it's all around us. It's our lifestyle, preventative care, and not. I want more people to be at a high level of vibration, high frequency, because that's more fun. The powers that be want everyone to be sick and suffering, and low vibration or lower chakras. Maslow's lower hierarchy of needs are, if you're just trying to survive and pay the bills, you can't be in the higher vibration with using your creativity and abundance. So I want to help people raise that so they can enjoy life.
Is there anything you know now that you wish you knew sooner?
Yeah, I wish I knew how to express my feelings and communicate better. With hypnosis, it really helped me communicate feelings and emotions, and we all have emotions. We all have trauma, and I wish I knew what trauma was and how to heal it or how to help it earlier, because I have some too, and we all do, but we can either let it run our lives or we can do something. We can suppress it, like the children. Remember, we were talking about the kids, like, oh, don't talk about that. We can suppress our skills and abilities or our trauma, or we can use that. And really, I think I wish I knew what that was, how to express my emotions and communicate earlier.
The question that I love asking all of my guests is what they are most proud of or what they love most about who they are today. So, Jonathan, I'd love to know what that is for you. What would you say you love most about the man that you are today?
Well, I love that I've always believed in myself. I've always had a high self-worth, not like royalty, very humble still, but I've always thought I can do anything. If someone else can do it, I can too. And that's, I think, possibilities are endless when you believe in yourself and you don't come from scarcity or have a scarcity mindset or lack mindset. And because you can do anything, it might take you a year, it might take other people 6 months, but everyone out there listening, you can do anything you set your mind to. It's getting around people that are doing it and learning and really working toward it every day.
That is such good advice, and that resonates with me so deeply. I've got stuff going on at the moment that I'm like, oh, I'm not the kind of person that could probably do that, but I can. Now I believe I can. I'm like, yes, if they can do it, so can I. I love that, Jonathan. It's been such a pleasure to chat. Please tell the listeners where they can find you and how they can work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can really tell you've done hypnosis and this type of work before, because your questions, the conversation was so wonderful. So everyone out there, listen to her other episodes. There's some really good spiritual people. You can find me on Journeys into Past Lives. Journeys into Past Lives. Instagram, Facebook, website, YouTube. I have some cool YouTube video, full-length sessions on my YouTube. More videos coming soon. And my app is Journeys into the Subconscious. So search that, download that. I do weekly Wednesday night at 9 p.m. EST. I do a weekly live call, like a community hangout. So I do a live call on Instagram, and I teach hypnotherapy now. So I love teaching, and I show people what I do, and I don't gatekeep. I share you everything I know, and everyone can do this in hypnotherapy and past lives. And that's why I want more. We need more healers. We need more facilitators, guys. There's enough people that need help, and so there's no shortage. So you can do this. You can make this a part-time, full-time, however much you want to put into it.
That's a really important message, because I think that people think that there's already so many people in the space and what do they have to bring? And to the people who are listening who are thinking of doing that, like you said, it's your unique essence that you bring. There is no one else like you in this world. So why wouldn't you just take that chance on yourself? And I should really take my own advice.
Yeah, yeah. They
Oh,
don't
it's
buy
so
life
good.
coaching. They don't buy hypnotherapy. They don't buy Reiki. They buy you. They buy your
Yeah.
essence. People don't care about what you know. They care about how much you care. And so you could be that person to help people, even if it's just your friends and family, learning some of these modalities. And hypnotherapy doesn't take that long to learn. It takes a few months. It's not like 4-year program. So you can do that and pursue that and make it your reason to explore this.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are interested in connecting with Jonathan, I will include in the episode description and across socials links and ways you can do that. So if you haven't already, head on over to Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and Apple Podcasts and follow the Skin I'm In podcast to be the first to know when new episodes drop. Jonathan, thank you so, so much for being a guest on the Skin I'm In podcast.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
The deeper I've gone into past lives, ancient civilizations, the star systems we came from, the cultures that existed long before recorded history, and the stories we've been taught to dismiss as myth, the clearer it's become that so much of what we're searching for has never actually been lost. It's just been encoded. Ancient civilizations left us maps, depictions of a time and way of life that carry far more truth than we were ever taught to see, passed down, waiting for the moment we are ready to remember. When I experienced past life regression, I went in with expectations. I am not going to lie. I was like, ancient temples, dramatic timelines, something grand. I was totally a pharaoh in a past life. I know it. I want to see what happened during the Younger Dryas. No, you know what? I actually want to see if Noah's Ark was real and what happened during the Great Flood. Like, I was so convinced I was going to see something incredible. But what I was shown was no spectacle. They were actually very, very sad stories. 2 lives revealed themselves, one in the Stone Age and one that felt like it was the late 18th, maybe early 19th century. And in both, I was male, and in both, the message was the same: the importance of family and the responsibility to stand up for what is right, even when it costs you. And in a couple of my past lives, it actually cost me my life. After that session, it suddenly made sense why in this life I fight so fiercely, why I feel such a deep pull to protect, to question, and to challenge injustices, why loyalty, truth, and protection feel non-negotiable for me, and why some battles feel personal, even when they're not mine alone. It wasn't new information. It wasn't random information. It was all very familiar. And it left me wondering how much wisdom our subconscious is holding, patiently waiting for us to open the door. Because here's what I believe: every answer you're looking for already exists within you. It's not outside of you. The next book, teacher, or modality helps you let go of what you need to let go of so that you can access what is already within you. But accessing it requires willingness to let go of what no longer fits, to do the inner work, and to create the capacity to hold what's coming next. I believe the universe responds when we meet ourselves with full love and acceptance. And there are levels to that acceptance. That's one of the things I really am truly embracing, because each level brings a gift: a deeper knowing, a clearer sense of direction, a remembering of who you have always been beneath the noise. And let me tell you, there are levels to that noise too. So if you've ever felt like you don't quite belong, if you sense there's something more calling you, if you're seeking clarity around your path or patterns that you just can't explain, maybe it's not because something is missing. Maybe it's because something within you is ready to be switched back on. I can't fully explain how I know this, but I know. You already hold the key to the door you think is locked. Past life regression doesn't give you that key. It simply reminds you that you have been holding it all along. And as you step into this year and every year from here on out, my hope is that you don't chase becoming someone else, but instead allowing yourself to remember who you already are and share with the world the gift that actually is. With gratitude and grace, have a wonderful day.